My name is Amelia. I am 27 years old now. But my story starts when I was much younger. It starts in my small town by the sea. The town was quiet. The waves made the only loud sound. I liked the quiet. My life was simple. My family had a small bakery. The smell of fresh bread was my first memory. I worked there after school. My life felt safe. It felt predictable. Like the tide, it went in and out each day, but it was always the same sea. I thought my whole life would be like that. Simple, quiet, and safe. But then he came. His name was Liam. He was not from our town. He came one summer with his family for a holiday. He was different from the boys I knew. The boys in my town were like the sturdy fishing boats in the harbor. They were reliable. They were predictable. Liam, he was like a sailboat. He seemed free. He seemed ready for an adventure. He had a smile that made the sun feel warmer. His eyes were the color of the sea on a stormy day. Full of energy, full of dreams. We met on the beach. I was walking, collecting interesting shells. He was skipping stones on the water. He smiled at me. I was shy. I looked down at the sand, but he walked over. "Did you find any good ones?" he asked. His voice was friendly. I showed him a smooth, spiral shell I found. He told me it was beautiful. We talked for a long time that day. He talked about his home in the big city. He talked about his dream. He wanted to travel the world. He wanted to see everything. I listened. I had never met anyone with such big dreams. My dreams were small. A happy family. A quiet life. But listening to him felt exciting. That summer was a dream. It felt like a story from a book. We spent every day together. We walked on the beach at sunset. We had picnics on the cliffs. He told me I was beautiful. No one had ever told me that before. He held my hand. His hand was warm and strong. I felt safe with him, but it was a different kind of safety. It was exciting. It was full of feelings I did not know I could have. I fell in love. I fell in love deeply. The kind of love that feels like it will last forever. He loved our town. He said it was peaceful. He said he could breathe here. He came to the bakery. He loved the smell of the bread. My father liked him. My mother was cautious. "He is a city boy, Amelia," she said. "His world is different from ours." I didn't listen. I didn't want to listen. Love makes you deaf sometimes. The summer had to end. The day he had to leave was the worst day of my life. We stood at the small bus station. The sky was gray. It matched my heart. I was crying. I tried not to, but the tears came. "Don't cry, Amelia," he said softly. He wiped a tear from my cheek. "This is not goodbye. This is just see you later." "But you are leaving," I whispered. My voice was broken. "Yes," he said. "I have to go. I need to work. I need to save money for my dream, for our dream." "Our dream?" I asked. He held both of my hands. He looked into my eyes. His stormy sea eyes were serious. "Yes, Amelia, I want to travel. But I want to come back. I want to come back here. To you. I will build a small house on the cliff. We can watch the sunset every day. My heart jumped. This was my dream. He was making my dream his dream too. I will be gone for a while, he said. Maybe a year, maybe a little more. I need to make something of myself. But I will come back for you. I promise. He took a small, flat stone from his pocket. He had carved a simple bird on it, a seabird. Keep this, he said, so you don't forget me. How could I ever forget him? I will wait, I said. I will wait for you. I know you will, he said. He kissed me. One last, long kiss. It tasted of salt from my tears. Then he got on the bus. I watched the bus drive away. It got smaller and smaller, until it was just a dot. Then it was gone, and I was alone. But I had his promise, and I had the small stone bird in my hand. He promised he would come back for me. So I waited. The waiting began. The first year was full of hope. It felt easy. My love was strong. His promise was fresh in my mind. Every day I woke up and thought, today might be the day I get a letter. I wrote to him every single day. I told him everything. I told him about my day at the bakery. I told him which neighbor got a new dog. I told him the sea was calm today. I filled pages and pages with my simple life. I wanted him to feel like he was still here with me. I sent the letters to the address he gave me in the city. I went to the post office every afternoon. My heart pounded in my chest every time. Anything for Amelia. I would ask Mrs. Gable, the postmistress. She would smile kindly. Not today, dear, she would say. I would walk home. My heart would be a little heavy. But then I would think, he is very busy. The city is big. The mail is slow. I made excuses for the silence. I had to. It was the only way to keep the hope alive. My friends knew about Liam. At first, they were happy for me. They saw how much I loved him. But as the months passed with no letters, they started to worry. Are you sure he is writing back? My best friend Clara asked gently one day. Maybe the address is wrong. The address is correct, I said, a little too quickly. He is just busy. I didn't want to hear any doubt. Doubt was like a crack in a wall. I was scared if one small doubt got in, my whole world of hope would fall down. So I protected my hope. Fiercely. The first year passed. No letters came. Not one. My 21st birthday came. I had a small party with my family. I kept looking at the door. A foolish part of me thought he would surprise me. He didn't. That night, I cried myself to sleep. I held the stone bird so tightly in my hand. It felt cold. The second year of waiting was harder. The hope was still there, but it was mixed with a new feeling. A cold, heavy feeling. Fear. I didn't write every day anymore. Maybe 2 or 3 times a week. The letters were different too. Less cheerful, more questions. Are you okay, Liam? Did you get my letters? Please, just write one word. Just tell me you remember. The town started to feel different. People didn't ask about Liam anymore. They gave me sad looks, pitying looks. I hated those looks. I felt like a foolish girl, the girl who waited for a ghost. My mother tried to talk to me. "Amelia, it's been 2 years," she said, her voice full of love and worry. "Maybe it's time to think about yourself. Maybe it's time to move on." "No," I said. My voice was sharp. It made my mother flinch. He promised me. I showed her the stone bird. He told me to wait. She just sighed and hugged me. She didn't understand. No one understood the power of his promise. It was the center of my world. Without it, I would be lost. So I kept waiting. My life felt frozen. My friends were moving on. Clara got married to a boy from our town, a kind fisherman. I went to her wedding. I smiled. I said congratulations. But inside, my heart was breaking. I saw their happiness. It was real. It was here. My happiness felt far away, a distant dream. Sometimes, anger would bubble up inside me. Anger at Liam. Why was he so quiet? Why was he hurting me like this? One night, I gathered all the letters I had written and not yet sent. I almost threw them in the fire. My hand was shaking, but I couldn't do it. Throwing them away felt like giving up on him, giving up on us. So I put them back in the box. And the next day, I wrote another one. "I am still here, Liam. I am still waiting." The 3rd year was a year of deep loneliness. The hope was a tiny flame now, flickering, trying to stay alive in a storm of doubt. I was 23 years old. I felt much older. My life was a repeating pattern of work, home, and waiting. The bakery, my room, the post office. My world was so small. I stopped talking about Liam. Saying his name out loud felt painful. It made the silence that followed feel louder. I became quieter, more withdrawn. I spent a lot of time alone, walking on the beach. I would sit on the cliffs where we had our picnics. I would look at the sea. I would talk to him in my head. I would ask him questions. And the sea would answer with its endless, empty roar. I almost stopped writing letters completely. For a month, I didn't write a single one. I tried to live my life. I tried to forget. I went out with Clara and her husband. I tried to smile. I tried to laugh. But it felt fake. My heart wasn't in it. My heart was still waiting. It was like part of me was missing. A part of me was with him, wherever he was. Then one evening, I was cleaning my room. I found the box with his stone bird. I took it out. I traced the carved bird with my finger, and I remembered his smile. I remembered the feeling of his hand in mine. I remembered his promise, and the tears started again. The hope, small as it was, flared up again. It was a painful hope, but it was better than the emptiness of giving up. That night, I wrote him the longest letter yet. I poured out all my pain, all my loneliness, all my confusion. "Why, Liam," I wrote, "why are you doing this to me? I love you. I am waiting, just like I promised. But I am so tired. I am so lost. Please, Liam, Please come home, or just send a letter. Just one sign that you are still out there, that you still remember me. I sent the letter the next day, and I waited. The silence was the only reply. The fourth year, the tiny flame of hope was almost gone. I was 24. I felt numb. The daily disappointment at the post office didn't hurt as much anymore. I was used to it. The pitying looks from the townspeople didn't bother me as much. I just looked through them. I was living in a gray fog. Then one day, something happened that started to clear the fog. A man came to town, a traveler who had been to many cities. He was sitting in the small cafe, telling stories. I was there, having a cup of tea. He talked about the big city where Liam lived. He mentioned a big construction company that was building new towers. He mentioned a young, successful manager there. The manager's name was Liam. My heart stopped. I stood up and walked to his table. My hands were shaking. This manager, I asked. What does he look like? The traveler described him. He described his hair. He described his confident smile. He described Liam perfectly. He is doing very well, the traveler said. He married the boss's daughter a year ago. They have a baby now, I think. The world went silent. The noise of the cafe disappeared. All I could hear was a rushing sound in my ears. Married, a baby. He had a new life, a whole new life, while I was here, waiting, frozen in time, holding onto a promise he had thrown away like a piece of trash. I don't remember walking home. My legs moved, but I didn't feel them. I got to my room. I sat on my bed. I didn't cry. I was beyond tears. I just felt empty, a deep, hollow emptiness. He wasn't busy. The mail wasn't slow. He hadn't lost my address. He had just forgotten me. He had replaced me. I took out the box. I looked at the stone bird. It looked stupid, a silly carving on a worthless stone. I looked at the piles of letters I had written, hundreds of them, words of love and hope sent into a void. I felt like a fool, the biggest fool in the world. That night, something inside me broke. The part that had been holding on to hope, the part that had been waiting. It shattered into a million pieces. The waiting was over. Not because he came back, but because the man I was waiting for didn't exist anymore. He was a memory, a ghost, and I had wasted 4 years of my life waiting for a ghost. The pain was unbearable. It felt like a physical weight on my chest, crushing me. I finally understood. He was never coming back. The 5th year began with a terrible, painful silence. Not the silence of waiting, but the silence of an ending. I was 25. The girl who waited was gone. In her place was a quiet, sad woman. For months, I just existed. I worked at the bakery. My hands moved, kneading dough, but my mind was empty. I walked on the beach, but I didn't see the beauty anymore. I just saw endless, gray water. My parents were so worried. My mother would try to talk to me, but I had no words. What could I say? that my heart was broken, that my life felt like a lie. Clara came to visit. She brought her little boy. He had chubby cheeks and a happy smile. Looking at him hurt. He was a symbol of a life I might have had. A life that was moving forward, while mine was stuck in the wreckage of a broken promise. Slowly, very slowly, things started to change. It wasn't one big moment. It was a series of small, tiny things. One morning, I woke up, and the sun was shining. For the first time in a long time, I noticed it. I noticed the way it made the dust dance in the air. It was a small thing, but it was something. A few weeks later, Mrs. Gable from the post office stopped me. She didn't give me a sad look. She asked if I could help her. Her garden was overgrown. She was getting old. Her hands hurt. I said yes. I didn't really want to, but I didn't know how to say no. So I started working in her garden every afternoon. I pulled weeds. I planted new flowers. My hands got dirty. My back hurt. It was hard work, but it was good. While I was digging in the earth, my mind was quiet. I wasn't thinking about Liam. I wasn't thinking about my pain. I was just thinking about the soil, the roots, the small green shoots. Mrs. Gable would bring me lemonade. We would sit and talk. She didn't talk about Liam. She talked about flowers. She talked about her life. Her stories were full of joy and sadness. She had loved and lost too. But she was still here, still planting flowers. "The earth is good, Amalia," she told me one day. "It takes what is dead and turns it into new life. People can do that too." Her words stayed with me. I started to build a new life, piece by piece. I took a course in accounting. I was always good with numbers at the bakery. I started helping my father with the books. It felt good to use my mind for something new. I started reading again. Not love stories. Stories about travel, about history, about strong women who built their own lives. I was still sad sometimes. The scar on my heart was still there, especially at night when I was alone. I would think of him. I would wonder if he ever thought of me. But the sharp, crushing pain was gone. It was replaced by a dull ache, a sadness for the girl I used to be, for the years I had lost. But I was not that girl anymore. I was 26 years old. I had my work at the bakery. I had my garden with Mrs. Gable. I had my books. My life was small, but it was mine. I was building it myself. I wasn't waiting for anyone to build it for me. I was starting to feel okay. Not happy, not yet, but okay. And okay felt like a miracle. Then one rainy Tuesday afternoon, a letter came. A real letter for me. The handwriting was neat, unfamiliar, but the name in the corner, Liam. My heart didn't jump. It just stopped. For 1 second. Mrs. Gable handed it to me. Her eyes were full of concern. I took the letter. My hand was steady. I walked home. I sat at my small kitchen table. I looked at the letter for a long time. It was postmarked from a city not too far away. Finally, I opened it. It was short, just a few lines. "Amelia," it said, "I don't know if you will get this. I am so sorry for everything. I was a coward. I met someone else. Life moved so fast. I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't know how to break your heart, so I said nothing. It was the wrong thing to do. I know I hurt you terribly. I hope one day you can forgive me. I hope you have a happy life. Liam." I read the letter 3 times. There were no tears. The storm had already passed long ago. This was just the final, quiet rain. It was the truth, the confirmation. He wasn't a monster. He was just a coward. A weak boy who made a promise he couldn't keep. I folded the letter and put it on the table. And I felt a strange sense of peace. The ghost was finally gone. The story was finally over. I was free. I took out a piece of paper. I started to write one last letter, not for him, for me. I wrote about the girl who waited, about her hope, about her pain. I wrote about the 5 years of silence. I wrote that he broke his promise. He broke her heart. But I also wrote that she was strong. She survived. She learned to plant flowers. She learned to build her own life. I wrote that I forgave him. Not for him, but for me. So I could let go of the last piece of the past. So I could be truly free. I didn't send the letter. I took it to the beach, along with the small stone bird. I threw them both into the sea. I watched them disappear under the waves. My name is Amelia. I waited for him, but he forgot me. I lost 5 years of my life waiting for a promise. But in the end, I found something much more important. I found myself. My life is still quiet. It is still simple. But it is my own. And it is full. If you are listening to this, and you are waiting for someone or for something, please be careful. It is good to have hope. It is good to love. But do not let your life be only about waiting. Your life is precious. It is happening right now. Build a life you love for yourself. Find your own garden to plant. Be your own reason for happiness. It might be hard, but you are stronger than you think. You can do this. Keep going.